what is the Bible, what isn't the Bible.
Well, there is the story of the Reformation.
Do you see?
Yes, yeah.
So people immediately want access to the life and teachings of Jesus. Now, if it's very reliant upon manuscripts, again, discovering manuscripts or discovering things that aren't necessarily available as they may be available today, it's unfair. For example, I'll give you an example. The Dead Sea Scrolls. Yeah, they're the most accurate and the oldest version we have of the Old Testament, right?
Yeah, arguably.
So let's just say 50 years before that. Would you say the people that didn't have the Dead Sea Scrolls, that they were following an accurate Old Testament as much as, say, we would be having the Dead Sea Scrolls?
Well, I would say it doesn't particularly matter because the truth is the truth.
And how do you determine what is true, what's not true?
For it comes from God, but you have to go back to the days of ancients to find it, right?
So in terms of text, how do we determine what is true, what's not true, based on
Well,
what?
I think what the scholars did was they compared it to other pieces of literature, right? And they compiled this work.
So it's reliant upon scholars having to compare it and them deciding whether it's true or false, right?
Yeah, we can leave it at that if you like.
But we also know that different scholars were living in different eras, and the teachings and the beliefs of those eras was affecting the people
were
of that
different.
time.
Yes, of
For
course.
example, the Codex Sinaiticus, they were in Alexandria, and that was informing their view and, a lot of the way they were thinking, right?
Yeah.
But my argument is that if something comes from God, it should be independent of human beings and their biases.
Yeah, well, there is a whole story here that you can look at the book of Acts and Paul and how he traveled to all these places to evangelize and spread the gospel, right? Make of it what you want to make. Yeah, and then
Because even Paul never saw Jesus, right? The only real contact he had with Jesus was in visions. And those visions, we have to take his word for it. Let's just say,
yes, fair enough. Yeah.
taking Paul out of the equation, I don't want to disrespect him, but let's just say there's...
Yeah, I mean, the word of Paul is very sound wisdom.
Let's just say there's a guy called Bob, yeah? He says, look, I've seen...
Befitting name.
Bob spelled backwards is still Bob, that's the advantage.
Okay.